All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is TNZ episode number 18, and Tina's with me again this evening. Hello, Tina.
Wow. How are you? I'm good.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Nice.
It's kind of a quiet week, I think, so far. I don't think people are going to be doing very much. So mostly, at least in the United States, it'll be pretty quiet. I mean, the rest of the country, the rest of the world, they're probably doing the usual routine though, so it's probably not as slow paced as it will be around here, I assume. So.
Yeah, when holidays are like late in the week, the beginning of the week moves so slow and nobody wants to do anything, which I support. They should just give us the full week off.
I think the whole reason they decided to make it Thursday was so we get at least a 4 day weekend. So,
That's true. But why not 7?
well, we get a month from now. We'll have basically a 2 week holiday essentially.
That's
Well,
true. Yeah.
unless you're like me, and I think you too as well. You'll have a job that we'll have to work during that period of time as well, I assume.
Yes, I am lucky. I did get a new part-time job.
So, I was showing you this before we went live. I saw I show our viewers something that I didn't know we could do. We can say hi to our viewers who can see the comments. So hello, Trong,
Hello, Trung. Hello.
and then we got Pivot Boy. He says
Hey.
hey.
Pivot boy.
She
Hey.
says hey. Yes. So there we go. So I feel silly. I didn't know you could do that all the time. It was just a little feature. All I have to do is just click on their comment and it comes right up on the screen. So.
That's awesome.
Well, let's take a look at our question from last week. I thought it was got a pretty decent response. Let me bring this up here. 2,400 votes so far, and motorcycles are cars. Overwhelmingly, 76% with cars, and only 24% with motorcycles. So more than 3/4 of our audience would prefer a car versus a motorcycle.
I'm
And
not surprised, but it needed to be asked. Nobody had asked it. It needed to be asked.
and the thing that I used to work with a guy, and I've worked with other people, or I've known other people that say this as well. Riding a motorcycle can be kind of dangerous because apparently people don't even see them on the road for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. And I've heard I report on motorcycle accidents where people are killed on a semi-regular basis, especially during the springtime. You can see a lot during that period of time. So it's
Mm.
kind of sad. So, but I assume that might be a contributing factor. I'm not sure. So, but the number I thought the number for 20, I thought 24 was actually kind of high. I thought it was going to be like more like 10%, to be honest. So
Yeah, me too.
let's take a look at the comments we got here. Cycle because it doesn't create pollution. I think he's talking about pedal bike when he says that, not a motorcycle, because motorcycles would create pollution. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got at least one person that prefers a bicycle over both options.
all right, cars for wide roads, motorcycles for narrow roads. Oh,
Ooh, I don't know if I agree with that. Oh, narrow roads. I mean, narrow roads you just have to be careful on, but I just feel like narrow roads have like so much wipeout potential on a motorcycle, especially.
mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Maybe he's thinking I don't think there are such a thing, but a narrow road that's so narrow that's exclusive to smaller vehicles like bikes. Maybe I don't know. Like maybe you
Yeah.
can take a car on it, but I don't know of any such road. I've seen it for bicycles, for bike paths, but not motorcycles. So,
Hmm.
but maybe there's something else in other countries that I'm not familiar with. So, see, I can't pronounce the name. Says both. Mr. Phillips says cars. Jerry says I like Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Okay. Let's see. Both again. I like low riders. Public transport. Renegade MS says public transportation is better than these vehicles above. Motorcycles and cars are useless.
I do prefer public transit, but the United States doesn't invest enough in it, so it's not nearly as like practical, at
Hmm.
least in like places I've lived. So, in
I,
a perfect world, yes, Renegade.
I think people live in like big metropolitan areas would probably be more in this country would probably may say that they're better in some way. I guess maybe I don't know, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of that myself. They're not, especially where I live. It's very hard to get to public transportation. So
Yeah, exactly.
and I remember when I was younger, I had my car would break down when I was in high school, and I had to go to work, and I actually had to take a bus to drive all the way out to where I worked, and it was a pain. I hated that. So, not very many times I did that though. So,
Mm.
um, see, I love motorcycles, but cars are more practical. Is something, can't read the name there. Something Douglas.
McDonald.
McDonald. Okay, thank you, thank you. Kane says cars are more safer than motorbikes. Yeah, traffic is something. Wait, what is? I'm not sure what that means. And Jesus, I guess, says I like cars. So, all right,
Okay. Mostly
interesting.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I misspelled motorcycles as well. So, I think I did, didn't I? And the response part that is looks like the
You
question part
slipped
was
in an extra L.
yeah, yeah. I think someone corrected me and they pulled their comment down because I remember seeing someone said it was misspelled, but I don't see it now. So, all right. Alrighty. Well, I guess was there anything else you wanted to add to that before we move on to our next question?
Nope. I really just wanted to gauge the audience on this one.
How about what about there's another? I don't know if what it would be classified as. Once in a while, I see these big. I guess they're bikes, but they have three wheels instead of two. You ever seen these things on the road?
Yeah, I have. I don't know what they're called, other than like trikes, like
Yeah,
tricycles, but yeah, they're kind of like wider too. Is that what
yeah.
we think about the same thing? Yeah, I don't know what those are.
They have like a one wheel in the front, like a big axle in the back, like a long axle on the back that's as wide as.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird looking. I do remember when I was a kid. It was a pedal bike. There's a kid that would ride around with a pedal tricycle of sorts, a big one, like an adult version of one, not a little one. And my mother used to say, my mother used to say, avoid that kid. Don't go around him. There's something wrong with him.
Oh,
I don't know.
wow. Just like a
I,
mother's intuition.
yeah, yeah. So every time he'd ride up and down the street, I'd walk over to him and say, no, get back here. I don't want you near him. So, I don't know what that was about, but anyway, that's since that time, I don't think I've ever seen that was the only time I ever remember seeing a tricycle that was made for an adult, a full size one, not a little thing, but a big full size thing. So,
Interesting.
alrighty. Well, do you have a question for our audience for this week?
I do. In honor of this week's show, not a movie, Squid Game, I want to know, would you risk your life for a. Okay, the show takes place in South Korea, and the prize winning for Squid Game is equal to $38 million, I believe. Would you be willing to risk your life for $38 million?
Okay.
Like, well, how about this? Would you be willing to put your life on the line? Specifically, that.
Put life on the line for $38 million.
Yes. I think it, yeah, I'm just making sure it's
Should
$38
we
million. dollars.
should we add the USD at the end of it, or should we just make it $38 million in general?
I think we should do, yeah, it's 38.6 million USD, because
Uh,
that would be like, yeah, it definitely means different things in like different parts of the world, because $38 million is not a lot of money in American money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you said like 38 million yen, that would be very little amount of. That'd be
Right, exactly.
so. Yeah.
Because in the won, in South Korean currency, that's 45.6 billion won, which is a lot more than $38 million. It
Yeah.
feels like.
Okay. Would you be willing to put your life on the line? Okay, I think I got it right. Okay.
Yep.
So, what would the answers be for this? Is it standard yes and no, or do you want to add something else to that?
I think just yes or no.
Okay. Yes. No. Anything else?
Unless you feel like there needs to be another option.
Trying to think. Um,
Maybe something like if I if I was desperate enough to, or if I really had to.
like maybe if I, only if I was desperate enough.
Yeah, yeah, only if I was desperate enough. Perfect.
But only if I was desperate. Am I spelling that right?
I think it's
I don't know.
that's DESPE.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yep.
There, there we go. Desperate enough, but only if I was. Okay, I'm just bringing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Look good.
Yep.
Okay, we'll post that. So, all right. So we'll come back to that. See what kind of response we get for that one. Okay. So the show this week is Squid Game. I'd never heard of this one. This is something you had recommended. And
Yes, I'm so excited that you wanted to watch this. And I'm so curious to see how you like interpreted it and like what you thought because it's really popular right now.
is it really? Oh, okay. I'd never heard of it until you even said it. So the let me bring up the show real quick. Hold on a second, so we can discuss at the same time. Here's a scene from it. So I don't know the names of the characters. They have names that are in Korean. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh, and the other thing about shows that are produced in this part of the world, I've noticed that you often get facial expressions like this a lot. Um, or periodic, not all shows are like that, but sometimes you'll get facial expressions like this more often than you would say in shows that are produced, say, in Europe or the United States or Canada or something. So, but uh, the why don't you explain the premise? I guess.
So Squid Game, it starts off like explaining like Squid Game. And Squid Game was a child's game where it's just like a schoolyard game. And the show is built around this game where people are pretty much abducted who unknowingly agree to play in this game, these Squid Games, for like, I think, yeah, it's like 40 something won, which ends up like $38 million. And all of these people that say they want to play these games go head to head. And if they lose in the game, they're killed. So they're literally playing for their life. They're putting their life on the line.
Right.
And when I say these people don't know that they're playing, these are people who are the incredibly desperate. They are poor. They're criminals in some cases. The main guy is, and his player's number is 456. His name's Song Ji Hun. He is like a gambler. He's a degenerate. You know, he lives with his mom and takes her money. But he's so desperate when approached by the people who are running this game, who don't really come out and say they're running the game. They just, they're like, if you win this game with me, I'll give you some money. And then, like, they just approach him in the middle of the street and they're like, if you win this game, like, I'll give you money. And then they are like, oh, you could come with me and you could win a lot more money. And then they don't realize what they're getting into when they say like, oh, sure, yeah, I'd love to win more money. So um, they're pretty much abducted into playing these games. And um, a lot of them die. Sad to say, some of our favorite players die. But yeah, there's only one winner at the end of these games. And we follow the Song Ji Hun, which is number 456, and a few others, and like their progress in these games. And then you figure out also like who's running the games, why are they doing it, like all these types of things. So um, it's really interesting. It's really good too.
Hmm. No, yeah. So at the very beginning, it starts off with a little scenario with the kids, and after funny part is I saw the scene, but now that you and I were discussing this scene makes a little bit more sense as to what it was leading up to, because he says that if you don't make it, you die, which is something that that obviously when they're kids they don't really die, but this is basically a synopsis of what at least like I said, I've only seen the first episode, so they only did one game. I don't know if the rest of the shows that are like this are very similar, but as far as this one episode, it's a very that this kind of leads is kind of leading up to what is going to happen later on in this particular episode. So, and but it's done at a child's level, and as the game in this one, he's just showing two kids playing. I assume he's supposed to be him as a child. I don't know. It's not really. I guess it's supposed to be him, but and later on they play the game for real. Only in that case, they really do die. Is like what you were saying later on. So
Yeah, because the first episode, they play a game and lots of people die. So
mhm. And the as it goes on, so here he is, as you said, like a degenerate living with his mommy. Um,
living with his mommy.
Yes. Now this house is kind of small. I guess this is what it's like in Korea. I guess they're in South Korea. But that looked like a miniature kitchen when I was looking at that. I couldn't. I was.
I think
I
that might be what it's like, and they're definitely like the lower class, like the like lower class family. So I think that's like I don't know, like American houses are just more spacious. I think just in general,
mm,
but
I,
it's tiny.
yeah, it's really tiny. I thought it was almost like a toy kitchen. I thought for a second there. So you see him going in. He finds out his mother's credit card or a bank card, whatever it is, and it was originally it was like his birthday, but then she changed it, and he was able to figure out that it was his own child's birthday, correct?
Yep.
So he say, oh well, she loves his loves his mother loves his daughter more than she loves him. Essentially, is what he was saying, something to that effect. So
Yeah, like a granddaughter.
yeah. So you see him here winning money, wins a lot of money, and then as he's running away, he loses the money. Where's that scene at? Where he bumps into the woman. Uh, and the woman takes the money, and this woman becomes a major part of the, or not a major part, but she has a part later on in this actual episode. So let me make sure I have the sound turned down. I can,
Yeah, so he wins a horse race and then he gets robbed.
yeah. No, of course that's the scene where she supposedly grabbed the money from him, but that didn't look like she actually grabbed it. But um, the and we see this, and it turns out she's a criminal of sorts. She's a pickpocket, and he goes back. That's when he realizes the money was taken. Well, he doesn't realize that the money was taken from her till later on, of course. So you have these people like these I guess they're like loan sharks or whatever coming to get the money back. So and he thinks, oh, where's the money? He looks up, doesn't have the money. So that's when he flashes back to and sees the young woman he smashed into, and that's when he realizes that she took the money. And like you said, yeah, this is where you realize that he's just a person that's like always he's has serious financial issues. Now you said that some of these people are just like that are participating in this game are just bad people, but didn't they say that everybody was just basically out of money? Or they were all like uh, when the game first started, they all said that everybody was like financially broke in some way.
Yeah,
And
I mean they're not all criminals, but like she's a criminal. There's a like mob member type guy, like a thug. Um one of the one of the players, it's actually this guy's one of his like old school buddies. He's like a doctor and he's just a normal guy, but he, is out of money. So good and bad people, but it's the one thing they all have in common is that they are desperate for money and willing to do this.
mhm. So this is him being beaten up, the men's room. Oh, and he comes back and he because originally what had happened, he was so happy he won the money that he gave the woman at the counter who gave him the money. He said, "Here, here's a little tip, or you can have this for yourself." He's walking back asking for the money back. They never show if he actually gets the money back, but he asks for it at the very least. So, uh, now this scene was kind of weird. He's going in here. He's trying to get the toy, the prize, or whatever, not toy, but the prize, so he can give it to his daughter, right? And it turns out to be a gun, a fake gun that's a lighter. I was a little confused as to why he was putting money into this machine. Why not just go to a regular store and find something for her and just buy it for her instead of actually trying to get it out of one of these machines? Was there any significance to this?
I think a few things. One, crane games in general, I feel like are way more popular in like Asian countries. That is like a big thing. Like I know in Japan there's like a like crane game culture there, and it's like a big thing. Like it's a big deal and it's fun and people do it all the time. But also, I think that he felt like he could either win it quicker and cheaper, and it kind of plays into the like gambling mindset where, I'm someone who loves to gamble, and I am obsessed with the coin pushers where you put the quarter in and then the machine pushes it, and then I spend like $30. But I think, you know what I'm saying, like that's like the gambler mindset. So I think it's just emphasizing that he thinks he can make it quick by just, oh, I'll just put in like a quarter in the machine. Then he ends up spending like $50.
Okay.
So that's what I think it's touching. I think it's touching on those two things.
Okay. And like, he can't do it, so he gets a little kid here to do it, and the kid does it real easily. So, um, and this little kid right there, kid that's able to, yeah, he's able to get it real easily. So then he comes out and he gets the prize. He's real happy. He gives it to his daughter, and it turns out the reveal is it's a gun. We can barely see it there, but yeah, there it is right there. You see, she's holding a gun in her hand, and
He
it's
didn't
not,
open it before giving it to her.
and it's actually a lighter. Now wait, that he has this later on. So does he take it back? I forget. I guess he takes it back from her then.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Because I mean, he can't give a kid a lighter. I think he gives her something else, like here, really quick.
Oh,
But
okay. Let's see.
yeah, he like pockets it, and he's like, I'll get you something soon.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, also, I want to touch on this before I forget. This is kind of like similar to the movie we just saw in Mad Max, the one we reviewed a couple weeks ago, in the sense that all the dialogue is dubbed over with into English. So, how do you feel about that? Some people now, obviously, for the Mad Max, that was stupid because you're just dubbing English with English. That doesn't make any sense. And but with this, obviously, not everyone can speak Korean, and some people don't like reading subtitles. How do you feel about watching this with the dubbed English, or would you rather have the original language with the subtext with the subtitles below?
I watched it with subtitles.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't mind subtitles. I think in either sense, you're going to lose some sort of the intentional meaning of the words. You know what I'm saying? Like things literally get lost in translation through like the text or by having it dubbed over. Like there are certain nuances in language that really can't be explained in other languages as well, like certain phrases and things like that, and like emphasis. But I just can't handle like silly voices, and I feel like if it's not matching up entirely and the emotion can't be accurately placed onto the person, it's too distracting.
Okay.
Like, did you feel like his the voice? Did you feel like the dub was? Um, did you feel like it fit, or did you feel like, oh, this is really weird that there's some American voice on this?
Um, I could tell immediately that it was obviously dubbed over. It was very obvious. But as far as the quality, it didn't really bother me, but I was concerned if the emotion was coming across correctly. That's the only thing. So,
Yeah, that's how I feel, where it's like if the emotion isn't totally perfect to the intentional like language and like their acting, then it would be really tough for me to watch. Like if I was dubbing this, I would have to like sit and watch and look at his face and then say his lines like as it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Versus like, oh, I'm gonna read these lines and then they're gonna put it on somebody's face.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So as long as
Yeah,
it flows, it sounds like it did for the most part for you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
I wanted to show you something that you may or may not have seen. I can't play this because it's a show that came out in 1985, I think. I think it's 80, no 87. It came out in the summer of 87 in the United States. Hold on a second. I'll bring it up here. It kind of touches on this whole thing. I can bring the volume down. Uh, it was a show called Dynaman. Here it is right here. What they did was they took the show. It was produced in Japan, and what they did was they took out the original language that was there, and they dubbed in American voices intentionally, and they rewrote the whole story. So what the American voices were saying were not anything like what the actual actors were saying at all. It was
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
and I only saw like one or two episodes, but the one episode I do remember seeing, I couldn't stop laughing the whole time I saw it. It was done so well. So the problem is with it, I don't think you're going to see it released on any kind of DVD or home release or anything like that because they had so much copyrighted music in the background that they probably wouldn't be able to get the rights to release it because of the music that was in the background, like actual popular songs that were from that period of time from the 80s. So
Mm.
that would probably keep it from being released, but you can find it on YouTube. So if you want to watch it, you can see it there. So that's
Night Flight Dynaman. Okay. All right,
Dynamite.
we'll watch it.
Yeah, Dynaman is the name of the episode. So Dynaman is the actual, and then the was the name of the show. I'm sorry, Night Flight was one of the episodes. So, but okay. So getting back to this, so he's got his, so he's. So you said he was going to give his daughter something else, and I guess I missed that part of it. I did miss that. So I remember seeing it. I just forgot what he had said to her. So, all right. So this is the mother. Okay. Anything you'd like to add to this part? Oh, here we go. Here, this is the part that's good here. So this guy, is this the guy that actually helps him get into? This is the guy that helps him get into the thing. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So he's approached in like a subway station, and this guy comes up to him and basically is like, "Hey, you look kind of like a schmuck. You're kind of poor looking. Win this, do this thing with me, and I'll give you some money. Like, just I got some money to throw around. Do this, and I'll give you some money." And yeah,
The thing he does, he has these two little squares, and you have to hit it and then make it flip up over. I didn't catch how it worked originally. Then I realized that that's what the goal of this was, is to hit it with your square to make the other person's square flip over and face the other direction. So
yeah. So I'm just assuming this is some kind of like children's game,
yeah.
just because that's the theme of this thing. And if he loses, like, so if our protagonist loses, the guy like slaps him across the face.
Well, he gives him a choice, doesn't
Oh
he?
yeah, yeah. Oh, he gets. Yeah, you're right. He gets to choose which color. That's very significant. So there's a
Well, I
blue
mean,
one and a red one.
no, I mean he gets to choose. Doesn't he get to choose like if he could pay him money or take a slap in the face? Wasn't that right? Like if he loses,
Yeah, but he has no money,
right, right. He knows. Yeah, okay, right.
so he's got to like. He's like, well, I
He's
don't
got,
have any money, so you're gonna slap. You have to slap me.
yeah, it's almost like some sort of like it's almost like some sort of
It's like so ridiculous, right?
yeah, uh, yeah. It was weird. It was very strange. It almost seems like something you do with like some sort of weird sexual thing of some sort, like sexual fetish thing. Like you want to slap somebody over and over again. It's I don't know. It just seemed kind of
It
weird.
could have been at first. Like if it was a different movie or if it was like a different show and a different premise, probably. Like you're right. You're definitely right.
Maybe it's a common thing back in in Korea that I'm not familiar with. So, but yeah. So he gives him his card, and he eventually does win. He gives him some cash. So, and that's what he gives him the card. He says, give him the card. He says, if you, basically, he eventually calls him. This is what how he leads up to getting into the games. What are the games called exactly? A Squid Game, I guess. Is that what they're called, or is it something else?
I think they're just called the games. Like the Squid Game is like a specific game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I wasn't sure.
Um, yeah, but I think it's just these games. The game is unnamed. But yeah, he's so he wins, and the guy who approached him is basically like, if you want more money, it's really easy. All you have to do is win some of these child games. Call me.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically they are children's games, but it's there's a high risk, high reward for sure.
Right. And I've never seen subways like this where the subway platform is completely barricaded off from the tracks like that. That's interesting. Um, I just
Yeah,
thought
it
I'd point that
is.
out. I guess it's like I don't know if it's like that throughout all of Korea, but and I've never seen anything like that anywhere else in the world. In most areas, you can walk right up to the edge. I guess this is a safety measure of sort. Look, oh, obviously that's what it is. So people can walk up to the edge of the tracks. But that's kind of interesting to see that. But anyway, so he's like, "Oh, who's this woman? I forget who this woman is."
So Song Ji Hoon is the main guy, and this is his friend's mom. So Cho Song Woo is like his buddy in the game. Like his like he has a friend who's revealed later in this, and um that's his mom. And they were, they grew up in the same neighborhood. They're family friends, kind of thing. So he knows this is like his friend's mom, who's like, oh, like you're childhood friends with my son. I love my son. He's like he went to like the South Korean Harvard, basically. Um, so, but it's just showing that she's in a situation like herself. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That and I remember he walks away without paying her the full amount or something like that. I think. So
yeah. So he can't even afford to like pay this woman, and she knows it, and she's like, like okay, like I understand, kind of thing. But it's just like, yeah, she knows, and what can you do?
mhm. Okay, so as he goes on, is that the same woman? It's not.
No,
That's not.
that's his mom now.
Okay. They look very similar. Let me go back for a second. They look very. No, I guess they are different. Okay. All right. So this is okay. Back at their house. There's nothing really significant there. I don't think. Is there?
No, she just really emphasizes of like, you're in my house, you are kind of a low life. I wish you weren't like this, and like do better for your daughter, basically.
All right. So there's the daughter. Yeah, I've known friends. I know people that have lived with their parents for long periods of time. I'm not exactly sure. Oops. Uh oh. We lost Tina. Tina, are you back? Hold on a second. Let me bring you back up there. There you are.
I'm
We
so
lost-
sorry, I don't know what happened.
That's okay. The I've known people that have lived with their parents for very long periods of time. So I will say I'm not gonna say who, but I have a friend who actually lived with his parents all the way till the day they died. But he was actually by that time he had actually purchased the house, and technically they were actually living with him, but he never stopped living with them. So
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like your situation. I don't see anything wrong with it as long as like it's like mutually like agreed upon. Like obviously his mom doesn't want him there.
yeah,
But if it works for you and your family, then I don't see why, like if it's not an issue, it's not an issue. But yeah, it's just situational. One of my buddies lives with their mom and dad, and it's like, if I could do that, I would.
oh, really? Oh, I wouldn't. I would. That'd be a big no-no for me. If I my I when I got to be 19, my dad was like, "Get out, get out.
Yeah, my parents were too, but I don't know. As I like get older and I have a better, like I have a good relationship with my mom, and um, there's just really no reason for me to be there. But yeah, free housing, and like I have my own car and my own job, so I can just like leave. But yeah, she probably wouldn't let me do that. She probably wouldn't let me. Plus, I have a boyfriend, and he probably wouldn't want me to do that either because he would also have to live there.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh, jump ahead here. Or so let's see. Oh, that's right. This is where he calls him. Right. Here's where he's calling him. So he's getting ready to go take part in the games. Okay, it's picked up, and this is where the show gets which we up until this point it was just kind of in you don't nothing's really too unusual per se. He's really describing this is where things get really unusual. So he gets into the car, everyone's asleep, and that's when they pass him out. They put some gas out, and he gets passed out, and that's when he appears in this room over here. So this is where the show gets really interesting. So
so now he's in the game. He's
yes,
in the game, and they picked him up. He called, and they said, "Okay, meet us here at this time." And then they picked him up, and now he was like kidnapped. Basically, this is like consensually kidnapped.
yeah,
In
I was gonna
like,
say, yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say because he wasn't really he did a consent. Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, go ahead.
I feel like if he knew the full picture and the full story, he probably wouldn't have agreed to this. But he did say he wanted to win money, and he was willing to play children's games. So
Yeah. Now, I will say the only thing that was kind of annoying about this was once in a while was like everything is in Korean and there's no translation for the Korean. So like the word, like the text, everything that's on the screen. So there's a point where he comes up here where he has to sign an agreement, and I have no idea what it said. So all you can assume is that it's not really that good, whatever it is. So I'm actually kind of jumping ahead here. This is the old man that he meets, who's number 1001, and he's the highest number. Or apparently, assume he's the highest number. Yeah, he was. It was because they said there were only a certain number of players, and they show what was his number again? 456.
yeah, so there's only 456 people. So he's the last player.
Right. And is there any significance to that as far as the numbers, or does the numbers just mean that when they were picked? Is there any other significance to that?
It's not really explained like how they pick the numbers.
Okay.
Um,
It seemed like there might have been something to it only for the story because the old man was number 1 and he was the highest number. So it was like they were at opposite ends of whatever. And I didn't see anything that was anything significant. So that's why I thought I'd ask you.
yeah, I mean, there is some significance, but it's like explained later, and also it's like his number isn't like like yeah, there's a slight significance,
Okay.
but just not in this episode.
Okay. Gonna jump ahead. Now this scene that comes up here, this is the woman that pickpocketed him, and she's being fighting. She's basically being tormented by this other guy who's like a bad guy or antagonist, or whatever you want to refer to him as. Um, yeah. So this scene, I don't know, maybe it's different in Korea, but I know I've seen videos where people do tests where women are being beaten up by men, not literally. That's just they're just fake fighting, and they'll go out into random areas and they'll pick a fight in the park, and the woman will be beating up the man, or then they'll do the other way. They'll have the man beating up the woman, and when the woman's beating up a man, nobody interacts. But when a woman is being beaten up by a man, almost everybody in the park comes over and tries to help her. And I was like, this seemed like it would be the same situation, but nobody's helping her. It's you know what I'm saying. It just seemed kind of un
Yeah, I
unless it's
think
unless
no,
it's like Korea. But
well, I know exactly what you're saying about those like experiments and like the social like what would you do kind of things.
mhm.
Um, I feel like in this situation, I feel like most people would step in for this woman
Yeah,
in any other context, but just because no one has any real idea where they are, who those two are, their relationship is, did this woman actually do something to this guy? Did he actually do something to her? And if I didn't know anything, like going into this situation with no idea who I'm standing with and that guy looks scary. He looks like scary as hell. So um I would not engage with that either. I would be look at him. Look at him. He's so scary. I would be very unlikely to throw my hat into that ring
Hmm.
just because I don't know. And yeah, I think a lot of people feel bad for her. Like there are definitely people who like she finds allies in this place, but it's a little too early for anyone to know what to do here.
Right. He's got that big tattoo on his side of his face there and onto his neck. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if like in Japan they have like the Yakuza. I don't know if they have like a South Korean equivalent.
Hmm.
But if they do, I feel like it would be him. Like
All right.
but the Yakuza are dressed like very smart, very like in suits, like they're clean guys. This guy just looks like a he just looks like a criminal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like somebody you wouldn't want to mess with. So
Right, yeah.
so he beats up. We can kind of skip past that. The
See, yeah. He comes into her aid.
oh, that's right. He did come to right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and then they both started accusing each other of, basically using her to gain, like they were like both of them started accusing them of of somehow she was involved with the other person to steal money from
Mm.
them or something to that effect. So yeah. All right. So I go over here now. These are these actually human?
These are real people, yes.
Okay. I was
Yeah, they're
curious.
not robots.
All right. So this comes in. They come explain everything. This is the games and everything. Everyone's in financial ruin or financially desperate, so that's why they're here. And this is the part where they come up and sign the agreement. This is the part I was talking about because I had no idea, obviously, what is being said here. So,
So what it says is um like you agree like the three rules of the game are I can't remember the other two, but the third one is that the like you have to play the game. You can't like if you give up if you personally give up like okay, rule one is like you have to try to play this game. Rule two is if you give up, like you will die. And rule three is if there's a majority vote to end the games will stop.
oh,
So like you can all agree by majority rule to end the game.
oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's the third rule.
Okay.
So that's what they were signing is like that agreement form.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that's why the third one's longer. But yeah, that would be really tough to like not be able to read that. So you're
Yeah.
right.
Sorry, oops, mouse in the right spot. There we go. All right, so we jump ahead. They sign that, and this was just that's right. So they get their picture. Yeah. So there you go. And then this whole little thing looks obviously looks real creative, and it looks like what I want to say there's a what is it artsy image where the stairs are going in different directions. I assume it's based on something like that. So, but is there any significance to this little design, this whole thing that they're walking through?
No, I think it's just like a maze and confusing. There is later in the show, it is like you see that man in the mask in like the control room, and there is significance to like why there are so many like TVs and things like that. That's later in the show, so I don't want to like totally spoil it for people.
Okay.
But there is some inferred significance later. Right now, it's kind of I think it's just to like mess with the players of like you have no idea where you are,
Okay.
and like this place is a nightmare.
Gotcha. This is where the actual first game begins, and it's red light, green light, which is a game which we have this robot little girl, and she goes red light or green light, and then it says red light, and then when they stopped, and then, well, of course we keep on seeing him. He's watching the games. whenever she says red light, a green light, everyone moves, and when she says red light, there she is. Everyone stops, and then her eyes are little cameras, and she looks around to see who's moving. And then this is where you first realize, watching the show, that whoever is still moving gets eliminated. And this is where the first part of the initial part of the show with the little kids, where they said you get killed. This is where that plays in. So this part, you actually do get killed. So the person will actually be killed. The guy with the blonde hair, right there, is the first one to get killed. So
Yeah.
and
So like she says like red light, and then he's like still taking a few steps, and you see her eyes like, and
yeah.
then
Uh,
obviously he's not alive anymore.
so that's when we realized, and then he gets eliminated. And then the thing that was kind of weird is when everybody started reacting and running away, then they started eliminating him real fast. They started shooting everybody. I would think that I would think like almost 100% of the people would probably start running at that point, since they have no idea what's going on. So
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, would you? Everyone knows the rules of red light, green light, or you know what I mean. They explain the rules, so like they don't just like throw these people in and then it's done. Like they do actually say like, here's the rules of this game.
mhm,
Um, so they just have to take it very literally, and I think the people who really pay attention to that are the ones who succeed and go further. I know if I saw somebody die like that, I would be too scared to move. I wouldn't even intentionally run away. I would just be like, what is going on? And I would just be petrified.
mm,
So I will might hopefully I would succeed based on that. But yeah, the people who run away, like that's a natural response, but it unfortunately costs them their life in this case.
whoops. Okay. All right. So, oops, my mouse up here so we can jump ahead. All right. So basically, as the game progresses, several people are eliminated. There's the guns in there so they can shoot at people, and he's simply watching on his camera. Everyone's dying, massive death. Of course, we know. I mean, I can tell. I mean, obviously, he's our main hero, so we know he's not going to die. He's protected by the plot, essentially, what they call plot armor. You know, he's not going to be shot and killed regardless of what happens. So, at least not yet, anyway. I would, because he's the main character, and everyone keeps on moving, and they have 5 minutes to get to across that red line that where the little robot girl is standing. And the old man makes it. This guy makes it, and the other woman who was a pickpocket, she makes it. And as it goes on, you see more and more. Oh yeah, she's gonna. She, she said she was gonna. It looked like at one point she was gonna try to make him look like he was moving so he would get shot, but that never happened, obviously. So, and let's see. Yeah, right there. She was gonna like move his head around or something. So, which would think I would think that maybe she would get shot just for simply moving her arm around like that, but I don't know. So,
Well, if the camera can't detect it,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But we don't know if it's like infrared or can see through people and stuff like that. Like we don't know.
yeah. So anyway, there's one guy he wants to help, needs help, but he ends up getting blown away after that. There's another guy that helps him out. There's the old man, but there's another guy. Our main character. What's the main character's name again? Son. What's his name?
His name is Song Ji Hoon, but you can also call him 456.
Okay, 456. That's probably easier for me to
Yeah,
remember.
now that we're in the number stage. And then 218, that guy that's his childhood friend.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's right.
yes.
Because he asked, "Why were you? Why was he there before?" Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was also the shop owner that earlier had given him food, even though he couldn't pay for, even though 456 couldn't pay for it.
Mhm.
Um, 218's mom was like, I know your family, I know you, and like, I'll do this because I know you and I like you and I like your mom. So,
Right.
but yeah, so his best friend who like went to South Korean Harvard is also in financial ruin, clearly.
Right. Oh, here's the guy. Yeah, here's the guy that saved because he was about to fall, and the other guy grabs him and holds him,
Yeah,
and he saves
good
him.
guy.
Is this going to be 199? Is he going to be a regular in this show as well?
He does advance, and he is they end up like teaming up a little bit. At
Okay.
least they don't go after each other. Like they work together a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So then we come out, we get up here, and then yeah. So here's the part where they make it across. Oh, that's okay. We kind of jumped in. Okay, there's the final part. This is where they finally make it across. You can see her eyes moving. Is that the final one?
Yeah,
Oh,
so all of those people did not make it at the end of the time limit.
right. They had 5 minutes to get across, and that yeah. So they all get eliminated at the very end there. So
Yep.
except for that one guy. Oh, there he goes. Okay. So it seems like I guess there was 456 people. So I guess yeah, there's still a lot of people that could still be alive. I guess so. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they after each game before the next game, they show how many people were eliminated and how many people are still in the game.
Okay. And this is the interesting. You actually see that where they are. That this environment. At first, I wasn't sure if this was actually artificial sunlight, and then when they showed this, I realized okay, it was the actual sun because they had an artificial environment around them. I thought maybe this was, and then they showed it's actually on an island, and hold on, that's the end of the first episode. There.
Yep.
So, and okay. So how? Yeah, and then of course most of the credits are in Korean. Some of them are. We don't even watch that. So, alrighty. So, how do you feel about this episode?
I really like it. I think it showed everything that was necessary to like set up the show, and it gave us enough where it's like, oh my god, like these people really are going to die, and they do. A lot of people die. So I think they show the stakes really well. They show the individual characters by their numbers really well, and we have enough story from 456 to know like why he's actually in it. But now there's a bunch of questions as to like who's running it, where are they, why are they doing this, like do they really have billions of dollars to pay people, because that's the thing that's like promised to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they do show that later. There's like a big piggy bank that like comes out of the sky and it fills up with money. So they definitely like keep their word on that. And like, there's a lot in it for these people, but who's going to make it to the end and what's it going to take?
Right. I will say one little question from MS says, "Bro, stop pausing. We were trying to watch." Unfortunately, if
Pull
we do
that
that,
up.
we might get a copyright. So that's why you have to copyright strike. So we have to pause it every so often. Sorry, you have to watch this on Netflix. So that's why.
That's
Otherwise,
true. Yes. If you want the full thing, it's on Netflix. It's really good.
yeah. Okay. Well,
What
I
what
thought it
did
was
you think?
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Um, I the premise was different from what I didn't know was going to happen at the first half of the show until he gets like you said kidnapped. I forget how you phrased that exactly, but up until then I didn't know what to expect the show to be about. And then after that point the show takes a unique twist and it becomes very interesting. So I up until that point I was like I didn't really think the show was that extraordinary. I thought it was just kind of average. But then after that it does take a nice twist, and it leads me to wonder as to how the show progresses. So I say yeah, I find it interesting. I find it something that's be somewhat compelling. I wouldn't say super compelling, but definitely something that's interesting to see what happens. So
Okay, we got a somewhat compelling out of Zoom.
yes.
Are you gonna watch the next episode, do you think?
I might if I have some free time. I'm not gonna right if
If
it's
you have
not
some free time.
yeah. I'm so with my watching this. I have to find some time to actually watch this one episode. So I have to find some more time just to watch the next episode. So, but
Wow.
the
Wow.
if it was more interesting, that I may actually I would actually probably try to make more time just to watch it. But unfortunately, my schedule is just so backed up. I would just be I don't have the I don't have the full desire to give it that free time. But I'm not saying I won't. If I do have some free time, say on the weekend or something, maybe or something, then I might watch it. But it's hard to, right now I'm not so sure if I would have that free time. But definitely it's something interesting. I will say that. So
Yeah, I will say too that like the show isn't just game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4. Like they do explain like who are these people? Who are the workers? Does anybody even know that they're gone? Like oh, there's 450 people that are just missing all at once. Like do they realize that? Who's running the games? Why are they doing it? Like what's their motivation? Like all of that stuff is explained too. So it's just more than the games.
okay,
If that has that bolsters my case.
gotcha.
Um, so
So,
yeah,
so you would definitely highly now. How many? There's only 2 seasons so far. Is that right? At least that's what IMDb was saying.
there's like one season, and I think it's 9 episodes. So it's like it's pretty short compared to like more binging games. They might be making a second series.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay, now I'm looking at it right here. It is right here. So I'll bring it up. Yeah, the second season. They have one listed, but it hasn't shown yet. So, okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's just probably in the planning stages. I see what you're saying now. Okay.
yeah, and there's just like a binge culture. I think COVID really heightened that, and it's like 9 episodes. I think it's like between like 45 minutes an hour. I think one of them is like a half hour, but yeah, 45 minutes to an hour type thing. It's fun to go through, but yeah, if you don't have the time, if you're as busy as Zoom, probably can't watch it all. But um, I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely like it. I'll say that. So it's based on the show, the initial show. Yeah, it has my interest. So like I said, if I have free time, I'll try to watch more. But I will.
Cool.
So, and you said you have watched all 9 so far. You
Yeah, I did.
okay?
And an official rating. So 5 is my average. 5 is an average show for me. 5 is the average, right? So 5 is like a is a decent, fine show. I'd give this like a 6.8. Like it's not phenomenal, but I think it's good. I mean, I think it's like better than average. I definitely think it's better than average. Um, yeah, that's what I think. I think it's just it's good. It's good.
Good. And
It's not
if
like
you watch,
mind blowing.
so, but if you watch on next Netflix, I did not watch it there, by the way. So I'm not going to say how I watched it, but I watched it by other means. But on Netflix, you have the choice to choose between if you could actually read the subtitles or hear the actual. It could change the audio.
Yes, yeah, you can get subtitles with Korean dialogue or dubbed with English subtitles. So you
Okay.
can have it 3 ways.
Okay. I would say if it was only available where I had to read it, I would that would be very difficult for me to make time to watch it because then I'd have to sit there and actually look at the screen attentively just to see what's going on. Whereas when I'm watching this, I can watch it and then keep on glancing over to do other things at the same time. So that's when I have to read subtitles, it makes it much more harder for me to watch a show at that
Yeah,
point.
you're
So
definitely not alone. But I think that's like I think there's like a fair divide there. I can
mhm.
handle. I like hearing the natural inflection and the natural language, like the intentional language. So that doesn't bother me.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I do. If
But
I had more time, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
yeah.
But it's just that when I'm busy, it's like I can't sit there and look at the screen the entire time and read everything because then
Oh yeah, like if you're multitasking, it's
yeah,
impossible.
yeah. So, alrighty. Well, I would definitely recommend this for people. Even though I've only seen one episode, and you would. So,
Yep.
um, and when we can review another episode later on down the line. So, uh,
Yeah.
we go ahead and bring our question up here so we can go ahead and wrap everything up. So it looks like we have, let me refresh the screen one more time. 89 votes so far. Would you
Wow.
put your life on the line for $38 million USD? 75% with yes, and 13% with maybe, but only if they were desperate enough, and only 11% with no. Interesting. So And we got a couple of answers here. Renegade MS says, I'm not going to engage in something that is outside my limitations. YOLO? What it says? YOLO?
You only live once.
Oh, okay. 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 Thank you. I don't know all the abbreviations sometimes. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Cool.
That's okay.
Let's see. And Hell No by Marble. So it says Mad Marble. So
Yeah, and it's just it really depends on where you are because in clearly in South Korea, 38 million USD can go pretty far.
that's true.
But in the US, $38 million dollars is not big anymore. There's houses that are $14 million dollars in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
$38 million dollars is not a big number.
well, I mean, so would you like to, which maybe you and I could exchange paychecks sometimes because $38 million to me is a lot of money. So,
You pay me, okay? I'm on your payroll, so but like in a grand scale thing, in America, like we see all these things that are hundreds of millions of dollars, millionaires. We have multiple billionaires here. Like for the average person, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money, and I will never have that much money in my life ever. But like, is it a level that I'd be willing to put my life on the line for? No, it's not.
yeah, I know what
No.
you mean. Yeah. I'm saying yes, like I'm agreeing with you. Yes. Like, yeah. Um, I don't think I don't think it's worth the risk. Yeah. Especially if it's like the show shows it, the way the show depicts it, at least this one,
Yeah.
it's not worth it at all. So, Um, but yeah, because we didn't give the stakes in this, so we just
Oh,
yeah.
you know what? Also, I would love to know where people are from.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you can leave that in
Yeah.
as well if you yeah. So
Yes. And if you're watching this and you like are from a certain place, if that has any relevance to your answer, please share.
yes. Alrighty. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap everything up. Anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Watch Squid Game.
Watch Squid Game. It is Squid Game and not Squid. I thought for some reason I thought it was Squid Games. My bad. That is Squid Game. I see it now. I'm looking at the title. So alrighty, cool. Alrighty. Thanks everyone. Yeah, I recommend I recommend at least the first episode for sure. So, and if it's the rest of the episodes are as good as that one, then I would say watch the whole thing as well. So,
Yeah.
alrighty.
I like
Thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.